Welcome to Top Fitness Strategies Presents. All right, today we got something really special. This is totally, I shouldn't say totally, it's a little bit off topic than what I usually do. It's not fitness related, but it is extremely important for the health related stuff. And this is all about wellness. And I'm not going to even attempt to get into telling you anything about what she does. But my guest today is Dayna, and she just told me her last name. I think it was Bango. Is that correct, Dayna?
You've got it.
Okay. Now, Dayna is a mind-body wellness coach, and she's located in Vancouver, British Columbia. She helps people heal themselves through movement, and I'm going to butcher this word, so I'm not going to try it. I'll let her explain it to you. So, all right, Dayna, first of all, welcome to Top Fitness Strategies. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. All right. So tell people what it is that you do, and then from that, then I'll start drilling you with a bunch of questions.
Perfect. Sounds good. So I actually do fit into the fitness category. Absolutely. I started my journey in fitness and personal training about 22 years ago.
Okay. All right.
Previous to that, I was an athlete, and that's kind of what led me into the personal training.
Fantastic.
So I've been coaching people in wellness in, movement-based modalities for years, nutrition.
Okay.
And then a couple of years ago, I started to recognize that there was a missing void. And all the focus on just the physical body. And we now know that there's so many deeper layers of how the emotional body affects our physical wellness as well, which led me down the path of Ayurveda. And so I am a Chopra certified coach as well, which brings in Ayurvedic principles, which is an ancient form of wisdom from 4,000 to 5,000 years ago. It's actually the basis for a lot of the traditional Chinese medicine platforms that are out there. So mapping of the energy body as well as the physical body. And so now I blend the two into movement principles, but also into nutrition, how to manage your mental health as well through things like diet, through mastering the senses. So scent therapy, sound therapy, you name it.
Okay. Well, you're talking to an old gym rat, a musclehead, blockhead guy. So half of the stuff that you're saying that it's more important, in my opinion, than lifting chrome at the gym. All right. More important than that. So you said a big word in there, and it's and the one I butchered earlier. It's what was that word? Ayurveda. Ayurveda. Okay. So what is Ayurveda before we get into more details and everything?
So it's, again, ancient wisdoms around how to manage your entire mental and physical body. So they're kind of some easy tools that people can bring into their day. So meditation is absolutely a part of that. It's what we would call a consciousness-based approach to wellness. So it's learning to still the mind, which we all need plenty of these days because we've been in a crazy kind of cycle of not only pandemic, but now we've got, wars happening and all these other things. We are in such a lifestyle that is go, go, go and busy. And I've been on that train myself. I am also very much a gym rat through and through. And although I'm delving into other pathways to help people, my roots are definitely in the Iron Paradise for sure. But what I love about the expansion into Ayurveda is that there's some really simple tools that we can integrate into our days that aren't just about hammering out the weights at the gym and stuff like that. It's really bringing in a whole mind-body element to our wellness.
Interesting. Now you said the term "still the mind" a little bit ago.
Yes.
Now, right away when I heard that, I'm thinking meditation. Now,
absolutely.
Okay, and so my question is, and for my listeners, my followers, they're gonna chuckle at this because I don't get meditation. Every time somebody tries to explain it to me, I'm thinking that's sleeping. I don't get it. And the few times I've tried to follow meditation practices, I fall asleep. So, so explain to me what you mean by still of the mind and meditation. If you did say they were still the mind is meditation or a form
absolutely.
of meditation. Okay.
So we could define meditation as anything that's being done with like awareness or stillness. So, in today's world, we're often so occupied in our thoughts. We've got, higher levels of anxiety than ever before, which means people are really caught in their minds. And so anything that we can do very purposefully, we could say, yes, sitting in absolute stillness is its ultimate expression of meditation. But, we can have a walk in woods with no headphones and no distractions that would absolutely be considered as a moving meditation.
Okay.
I used to find, I have a martial arts background as well. Before I started actually meditating in stillness, I used to think that I got this from my movement. So going for a long run would be this, this mind clearing kind of experience where I wasn't in my thoughts for the day. Martial arts was that crew. I think sports are a great example of that too. When we talk about the zone, and I played volleyball competitively as well. And it was like, before somebody even spiked the ball at me, I was already in position to dig that ball. And so it's like that complete present moment would be the epitome, I think, of what meditation is. You are present in the moment.
Interesting that you define it that way, because I'm in the process of doing something for my YouTube channel, and I'll let the cat out of the bag here. It's like a 2-minute health and fitness tips, and one of the tips is give yourself some quiet time, whether it be, like you said, walking in the woods or driving in your car. So turn off the radio and just listen to yourself and think to yourself and enjoy what's going on around you. So from your definition, the way I understand it, that's a form of meditation, right?
Absolutely. Now, it scares me a bit that you're talking about that while you're driving, because we might actually want you paying attention to what's going on. But yeah, I think you've got the gist.
Okay. Now, all right. Let me make a little bit of a U-turn here, since we're talking in the cars and everything else. It says you help people heal themselves through this kind of movement. Okay. So give me some examples of what somebody, how do I want to phrase this, of an ailment somebody may have that you can heal. That I don't want to say you can heal them, but they can heal themselves. Is that correct? Am I saying that correctly? Or
Absolutely.
okay, so give me an example of what we're talking about, an ailment or how you can heal them.
So it can be as simple as someone coming in and they have chronic pain, and giving them the tools to work through that particular pain. So through stretching modalities or different exercises for strengthening and stuff like that. That would be a form of me delivering the information. And I really say that it's about them healing themselves, because I've got 20 some odd years of experience and knowledge that I've accumulated. But I'm on my own journey, and our own individual growth, whether it's in fitness or other things, is really about the individual to do the work. So I just kind of present the tools forward for that. If they struggle with, and this is, I'm not a trauma-informed therapist or anything like that, but the tools that I bring in are about offering solutions that they might work for them. And Ayurveda is very much an experience based. So I deliver the tools and I say, hey, I think this one would be a really great match for you. You're struggling with some anxiety. So let's bring in some meditation, or let's bring in some breath work, or let's change your exercise. And I love the analogy with this too, because a lot of us are kind of doing the wrong kind of exercise. And, when we're otherwise healthy, mind and body, we can do any activities that we want to. When we're struggling with some physical ailments or some emotional ailments, sometimes, or, things like adrenal fatigue, I'm not sure if that's come up in your conversations, high cortisol, things like that, which are kind of where the metabolism is working against itself. It's got so much stress in the body that it's working against itself. So you're not losing weight, even though you're doing all of the right things as far as your exercise program. So a lot of people will be doing the movements that are actually further exacerbating what's going on in their body. So in Ayurveda, we look at doshas, which are kind of constitutions. I think modern fitness uses it in ectomorph, mesomorph, and
oh my gosh, once again, you're talking to a musclehead guy here. You're doing all these way big words that that my client, the people I hang out with don't know what these mean. So you gotta.
Okay. So think about the guy that's like a medium build, but he's jacked, right?
Okay.
So that's kind of a body type. And then you got this, like, the kind of string bean that's having a really hard time putting on muscle and putting on weight, because they metabolize so fast. And then you've got that third one that is like kind of the big boned person that's having a hard time losing weight. So they've got a slower metabolism. And so they're kind of these doshas, and they tell us a lot about how our body will respond to different types of movement, different types of food, and they're tools to help us move towards like better health.
Okay. All right.
So I think I kind of lost my thread there, Andrew. So what was the question you asked me
Okay. Yeah,
exactly?
you're talking about these big words, and then they start talking about different body types and everything else. Excuse me. So, all right, let me back up a little bit here. So because you mentioned this 2 or 3 times, and I want to make sure that we point with that that we make sure we understand this. When you say you deliver the tools, or you give them the tools to use to, lack of a better term, heal themselves or to make themselves better, what do you mean by tools?
So the right exercise prescription. So I'll go back to the exercise piece just to kind of stay with your audience a bit. So I have someone, let's say I have a client that is a overachiever in all aspects of their life. So they are going, and they're prone to anxiety, and all their workouts are absolutely like, am I allowed to say balls to the wall? Is that
I was going to
okay?
say balls to the wall.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you can't say it. No. Oh my God. The whole thing's ruined now. Oh, dude. No. Balls to the
So
wall. There we go. All right.
yeah, so they're the balls to the wall kind of person, and they're always giving it their all. And then what's starting to happen is they're showing up with like injuries after injuries, or these things are coming. So they're not they're pushing too hard in their workouts. So I can take a look at through a couple of quizzes and sitting down with that person and say, okay, you're overdoing it for what you're hoping to achieve. Because when we overdo certain aspects of exercise, we sometimes don't lose weight because we build inflammation by over exercising. So if
Okay.
the goal is to lose weight, and we're always, we're hammering out at the gym 7 days a week, well, your body's got so much inflammation that the metabolism isn't actually going to allow you to lose weight.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I help people kind of see a healthier way, right? I get, and I was one of those over exercises myself. I ran away my divorce. I've spent, yeah, it didn't work, by the way. I had to, but it sure felt good in the moment.
So, all right. So a typical person that would be sitting there during the day and thinking, damn, I need to find Dayna. So who would that person be? Why would somebody seek you out? What would they, what kind of, I don't know I don't know how I want to phrase this correctly. So if, because right away I'm this from your bio, which I know is just very basic, and we talked a lot more about that. You mentioned your wellness coach, and you help heal themselves through movement. So how would somebody know that they need to come to you?
Well, so I've my recent journey back to school actually, and the Chopra certification was only a couple of years old. I still have a very strong reputation for movement. So a lot of my clients do come into me for personal training. I have a history of some health issues myself. I have an autoimmune condition. So I tend to offer, like, always have very compassionate coaching. So I'm able to, again, work with a client that maybe doesn't feel like they fit into the traditional model. And then I'm not sure who can help them, because I have clients that have Crohn's or other autoimmune kind of conditions as well, and so, or they don't feel necessarily like they fit in the gym. It can be an intimidating place. So and this can be from any ages. I love working with the young youth, especially. I feel like the gym was a really great home for me growing up through a lot of my places. And I always felt like there was this, like, a family there that you didn't know you had. And so turning on the youth of going into that and having a place that no matter where they are in the world or in their life, they can go and kind of find that community within themselves too.
Interesting. Now you mentioned autoimmune. Excuse me, and this is going to take another one of those little curves here. I have somebody very close to me who has an autoimmune. I don't know. Do you call it autoimmune disease? Is that proper phrasing? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, and this person, it's my sister, very close to me. She's never been an athlete, never exercised in a consistent basis whatsoever. Now she's up there in age. I mean, I just turned 55, and I'm not going to say she's my older sister because she doesn't want me to say that. So people that heard me say that didn't hear that. Now, could she benefit from? I mean, obviously she can, but what would it take for her to make herself healthier? I mean, I know it's a broad question. There's a lot more in depth to it, but that kind of person that's in that situation, I should say, can make themselves better. Correct?
Absolutely. And it's, it's all not there. Some, depending on the condition that someone presents with, they might have to take medication because
Hmm.
there can be varying degrees,
She
obviously.
does. She does. Right. Right.
But through the right kind of movement. So, maybe not an overdoing type of a thing, but maybe by things within the way of yoga and walking and the movement side of things.
Hmm.
Nutrition absolutely is really impactful for autoimmune conditions. So making sure that you're eating the right kind of foods. Um, and then the third piece is the mental health side of things and meditation, breath work. Breath work is also impactful to the body. It's considered actually a movement modality because it is breathing, which is movement. And these have a really great effect on our physiology of just kind of calming our nervous system. When our nervous system is calm, there's less inflammation in the body, there's less stress in the body. So she absolutely could benefit from bringing in one, two, all three of those modalities.
Okay. So now you're talking about modalities. That's another one of the big words. So meditation, breath work, and what was the third one you mentioned?
Nutrition and movement were the big ones.
Okay, nutrition movement. Okay. Now, and I don't know why this stuck with me. That you mentioned breath work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this to me, this is escaping me like the meditation thing is. Because when
Okay.
somebody says breath work, to me, it's like you're breathing in and out. Well, you do that automatically. But of course, there's a lot more to it than that. And I'm not trying to minimize that whatsoever. So give me a good example of what breath work means and what it is.
So Ayurveda Sanskrit uses the word prana as far as being like breath and life force. And so breath work is meant to work on our life force. And from a geeky standpoint, it actually hits some of our main points in the body that are our vitality lines. The vagus nerve is something that it will impact when we do something like breath work. And yes, it's something that happens automatically. In my years of coaching, though, it's something that, and you probably remember this when when you're pulling your weights too, you'll have people that are like breathing the wrong way or they're holding the breath, which can actually be very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So we're cueing in simple ways in gym and those kind of exercise conditions situations. But there are also an expansive library in a number of different India, in through Asia, in through all sorts of other areas of the world, where there's different techniques we can use to actually either stimulate our brains to be thinking more and kind of get more energized,
Mm-hmm.
or we can actually use some other techniques that will calm us down and again put us into what I will call that rest and digest, which is where our cortisol levels are lower and then our metabolism kicks in. We're just a healthier version of ourselves.
Okay, so then with going with, so sticking with breath work. So excuse me, if somebody were to sit down for 15 minutes, so it's just not breathing in and out, in and out. There's more to it than that. That
Yes,
broad
but it is.
stroke wise, broad stroke wise.
Absolutely. They're pretty simple techniques, so they're available for anybody. And they would be what I really love about them is they can be really impactful for somebody that maybe can't do a lot of movement. Maybe they have some severe injuries or they're healing from something else or they've got a disease they're managing.
Mm-hmm.
You can work breath work and actually see improvements in your physiology or in your body
Oh wow,
as
that's
far as improving health. It's amazing.
that I did not know that. That's I mean I know nutrition and body movement really can do a lot because I'm a firm believer that the human body can heal itself if given the right ammunition to do so, so to speak, the right tools, right ammunition.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the human body is a wonderful thing, but people don't take advantage of it, in my opinion. Those of you just joining us, I am talking with Dayna, and once again, her last name escapes me. Banjo.
Bango. Bingo.
Bango, Dayna Bango. She is a mindful wellness health. Let me say that again: a mind body wellness coach, and which is this is fascinating to me because her background is a lot of like myself. She's a former athlete and a gym rat, and she's I don't want to say transition, but she's morphed and she expanded into more than a musclehead guy like I am. So so this is just fascinating to me. So so the mind, the human mind, and once again, I'm a firm believer that the human mind can do a lot of things. What do you see when somebody comes to you, or what do you find that's holding somebody back? What do you have to change in their mind? Is that if I'm saying that right? That will help them unlock something, so to speak, to get them more on the path to healthier themselves, healthier you, so to speak?
Well, I think a lot of people have what I'll call like limiting beliefs on themselves. And that's often why we see people that like they make traction in the gym and they start going to the gym and they're not making the kind of traction they want to, and they're not sure why. So that can be a faulty program. Or they all of a sudden get some results and then they start to sabotage themselves and they kind of fall back into the old habits. They stop going to the gym or they start eating more of the junk food again.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of where I come in from a mindset standpoint. So I see that I'm like, okay, why is somebody falling off their program? So we start to go into a little bit deeper into that stillness piece and the breath work, and you help them see what might be holding them back. And
Okay.
so that's the non-gym coaching side of what I do, is sitting down and saying, okay, you're sabotaging yourself. What's lying underneath there?
Okay.
And
So,
that's
so
where,
yeah, no, go ahead. So I was going to say, so what got you going in that direction from being an athlete to this direction?
the autoimmune condition was a big part of that. I
Okay.
had always, movement has again been a part of my life for since I was little.
Hmm.
Um, and I recognized that I had some emotional healing to do with it. That when the autoimmune condition showed up, I was pushing really hard. I was running my own business. I had a young son at the time, and like all of us, we put a lot on our plates,
Hmm.
and I was
Hmm.
driven in so many ways. And for me, it showed up in alopecia, which is the autoimmune condition. So it's hair loss. So I, was in this existence as a bald woman,
Hmm.
and I was really struggling with that. And I was looking at, the things I was doing, and exercise was my therapy for years. And my body was speaking back and saying, this is like actually sending you into disease instead of better health. And so it started my own kind of journey into looking at my emotional health and what might have contributed to not only my actions in the gym, and taking out that aggression and those emotions in that kind of a space,
Hmm.
and instead going into a deeper level of what was actually going on in a feeling standpoint, which is really hard for athletes. I remember I share this with clients a lot. I feel like for some of us growing up, we never really learned to know what feelings were, and this is men and women,
Hmm.
and let alone how to identify them. And so I think about them as the same way we work muscles, right? We need to start going into, and the more reps we take to identify what the feelings are behind it, the more traction we get on that, and we learn about our emotional body as well as our physical body. And it really helped me heal and accept, myself as a bald woman. Hair or no, I have some now, but it does come and go. And so it was absolutely me going into the fire and recognizing how much was actually being missed by just focusing on the physical body.
Hmm. Interesting. Wow. So, I
Yeah.
mean, once again, we can talk for hours on this, but I only asked for a little bit short amount of time, so our time is about up. So, Dayna, tell people, because I'm going to assume, when we didn't talk about this beforehand, but I'm going to assume that you have a business that's virtual. You can help anybody on anywhere on the planet. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, how can somebody get in touch with you that wanted to?
So my website is bangobody.com. I'm also on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, searchable under Dayna Bango as well.
Hmm.
I'm not up on my Google Analytics and all the rest of it. So I might come up on like page 25, 30, 40, 400. I don't know.
Well, if they type it straight in, bangobody.com, it's not a problem. And I will also have all this in the show notes, so don't worry about that. And I always throw this out there as well, Dayna. If anybody is listening to this and didn't write anything down, they can always contact me, and I will send you a message and let you know about it as well. But
Beautiful.
so a lot of this can be done online, like we said.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm not going to how do I want to phrase this? Let me ask you, your ideal client, what would be
Mhm.
your ideal client? If there even is an ideal client.
I'm really open to whoever kind of comes. Again, I've developed a really significant spiritual practice. So whoever resonates with my story a little bit, or you think maybe you see a little bit of your own journey in
Mm-hmm.
some of the stuff that we've talked about, reach out. I will do my best to help you on the right path, and use whatever tools I've got.
Okay.
For you.
See,
Yeah.
because most of my audience is over 50 or 50 years old, but the way you're describing your practice, it's for any age. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not quite over 50 yet. I'm 49. I'll be 50. It's my 50th year this year. So I'm in that category. And I have
Welcome.
clients.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm not quite sure that I'm ready to be there, but I am, loving myself in these years. So, and I still think of myself as a kid in a lot of ways. So, my clients are anywhere, again, from the youth. I have a 25-year-old son. I work with, youth for a lot of years in sports and athletics and help them with that mindset piece too. I've got, again, clients that are in their 70s, and then everything kind of in between. So, if people are having a hard time trying to find somebody that maybe understands their story, and that mind body aspect kind of connects with them, understanding that maybe it's not just about what they weigh on the scale, that they need a little more to help to get them so they can get that scale down. That would be a really great client. So an all-encompass kind of approach.
Fantastic. Once again, Dayna Bango, and this is bangobody.com, and look her up. Fantastic stuff going on here. And this is and this is my term. This is beyond the gym. All right. You can look at it that way, beyond the gym, to help heal all kinds of stuff that's going on and improve your life, not just physically, but also mentally and healthy. The interior, as I like to call it. And people who follow me knows what I'm talking about then. So, Dayna, well, once again, thank you for being a guest on Top Fitness Strategies. And I'd like to reserve the right to ask you to come back as a future guest, if we could.
I would be honored, Andrew. It was really, thank you so much for having. I would love to come back, and I have tons of different stuff we can talk about too. So.
Fantastic. All right. So until next time, folks, this is Andrew and Dayna. Top Fitness Strategies presents. Ciao.
Bye.